Okay, I'm bringing people in. Hello, Barbara, Chiyun. Hello there. Hi, Chiyun. Ronald, Anna. Okay, so I'm so excited. I know people are coming in as we speak. And in the meantime, I am really curious to hear where you're coming from. So let me know in the chat what part of the world you're in and what you're hailing from, where you're hailing from. I'd love to hear. Seattle. Anna's in Seattle. Chiyun is in Colorado. Hmm. I've just been feeling the energies here. Barbara's from Oregon. Love all these folks coming in from the US as well. Hmm. So I'm just going to, I've been doing a lot of clearing on my voice. So I am just, I'm going to be really curious to hear how you guys are doing, and what you've been experiencing opening up into this masterclass. One moment. And if we have not met yet, my name is Margarita, and I am so excited to see you here today on this sunny Sunday here in Arizona for the Embodied Power Activation Masterclass. So I'm so excited to do this because there's such a deep need for us to be embodied on a deeper level. And so I know that so many of you have been already doing that work. So this is going to be perfect for you because we're really going to go deeper. I mean, we're going to do a little recap, but of what embodiment is about, but it's also going to go deeper. We're going to go deeper on things. So before we go deeper into all of this, I'm really curious what inspired you to attend today. Let me know in the chat. I'm curious what has brought you here. In addition, type one, if your embodiment feels solid, but it's a little stretched right now, or number two, if you are really at that precipice of this next level of embodiment for yourself. So let me know, are you a one or a two? And I'm really curious also what inspired you to attend. So let me know. So curious. Today is also 111. It is a powerful portal. And so 11 is a mastery number. And there's just a lot of really powerful things that we are opening into this year in particular, because this year is actually also a 1 year. So it's going to be a lot of new beginnings. Anna's saying she's coming in with the number two. She's really curious about things. So welcome, welcome. Yeah. Chiyun, she's saying, number two, after receiving the New Year activation, I could see how I have much more to embody and have been playing small around. And yeah, she's referring to the Solstice Power Medicine Box that I had shared in November of last year. And so there was a New Year activation in that box. And so, I mean, you're in the same boat as so many people on this planet, Chiyun. We're all opening, if you're really committed to your growth, we're all opening into this next level. So you are in good company. Hmm. Ronald, hi from the Netherlands, moving fully into 2 last weeks. So moving fully into a next level embodiment, it sounds like. But welcome from the Netherlands. I have a feeling it might be pretty late where you are, so I love the dedication. So here's what we're going to be doing in this masterclass. Obviously, there's going to be an activation because it's in the embodiment power activation name. But we're really going to go into sharing deeper into embodiment. So we're going to talk about kind of, a quick recap. We're not going to go too deep into the basics around embodiment because I'm sure a lot of you are already very familiar with that. But we're also going to go into what's next around embodiment. So I'm actually not going to be using any slides this time. This is the first time I'm doing this. Typically, I would have like a whole, PowerPoint presentation all set up, but I'm really feeling this level of connection where we get to go deep together and get really connected. And so I invite you to take out your notebook and we're going to, be taking some notes, or if you like to type your notes like I do, you can be doing that as well. But we're going to go deeper into what that gets to look like, having the capacity to embody more of your power, the leadership aspect, and also aspects around your mission, your money, and your power, especially when we're doing big things in the world and leading. So a lot of us are doing our sacred work through our sacred businesses. So I'll be touching on this leadership aspect as well. And after that, I'm also going to give you a way to really go into the next steps of embodying your power, what that next step could look like. And then we're also going to be doing some Q&A at the end. So if you've got any questions for me, I'm going to do some laser coaching around what it is you are moving through. Maybe it's around specifically around your embodiment right now. Maybe it's about something this year that you're wanting to open into. I'll help you get some clarity on that. And then we'll end with the activation so that we can really kind of, end this with a really deep embodiment activation. So Barbara is sharing number 2, strive to be embodied, grounded and aligned, but I'm not always there and tend to be in my head a lot. I liked your call about leadership and power. Yes, so glad you're here, Barbara. Okay, so I'm really curious. I know that these things inspired you to step in and join us today on Sunday. And for those of you who are going to be catching the replay, as many tend to do, feel free to, tap into this for yourself, even if you can't join us in the chat right now. But I'm really curious about what you want to experience in this masterclass and what is your intention for this masterclass? You personally, I invite you to share. You don't need to share, but I'm really curious. So let me know in the chat what your intention is for this masterclass. Maybe what you want to be experiencing this masterclass. Maybe what it is you want to open into. What you're curious about. So let me know in the chat. And as you go ahead and do that, I'm going to go ahead and open into the training. So when we are talking about embodiment, we are talking about this deep level of knowing and connection with ourselves. And part of bridging the 3D and the 5D, as we call it, the three-dimensional and the five-dimensional, as a lot of us are talking about right now, the 3D is really pertaining to our physical experience. So that means our physical bodies. That means what we're doing in our day-to-day, going to the grocery, doing our errands, paying taxes, doing whatever we're doing in our physical reality. And then we're also talking about the 5D level, which is the five-dimensional realm that a lot of us in the spiritual community love to talk about, love to work with. And this is where it's more like that cosmic frequency, that which what you cannot see. And the important thing about being embodied is being able to merge the two. So one thing that I love to talk about is really being interconnected and weaving in that understanding of our 3D and 5D, because a lot of us are super spiritual, and I don't know about you, but a lot of us are doing that spiritual work. So we tend to get cosmic really easily, and we're going to definitely be doing that in the activation. But we're also going to really prioritize being connected on the earthly plane. And that can be something that some of us can struggle with, especially for those of us who see ourselves as star seeds and those of us who come from, different dimensions and that kind of thing. We tend to like really enjoy that higher frequency cosmic stuff. And Anna's sharing her intention is to support her up-leveling. Beautiful. And so part of being embodied is really interconnecting the two. And so some of the basics, and I'll just go through this kind of quickly because these are some of the foundational stuff that I know a lot of you are already familiar with. So being connected to your body. So that means doing that physical and energy work, having your practices, having the movement in your daily momentum, working with breath, working with your intention, knowing what your body likes and what it doesn't like, just having a knowing of your physical understanding of self, and really having this connection. And so, one thing that I noticed, like when I'm with my patients, for instance, and we're talking about their physical ailments, they might talk about, okay, it's located in this area of my body, or they'll be like, it's in my shoulders or it's in my back, and they'll be very specific. And so that's a part of embodiment too, is really knowing your body, what your body is saying to you, how your body is speaking to you. Like if there is some kind of element of maybe an ache or a pain that maybe wasn't there before, you are on it and you're very connected to it and you're wanting to really see what your body is telling you, because your body is always speaking with you, especially if you're a starseed and you're ignoring your body. So your body's going to be very talkative. So being connected to your body is number one. So many ways to do that. Number two, having grounding practices, such as grounding your feet into the earth. Maybe you're practicing Qigong, doing these kinds of things where you're really just connecting with the earth and having your body connect with the earth, because there is that really important grounding frequency that Gaia emits. And we do feel her in general as she emits that up and through into the earth's crust, and we feel that in our bodies. But when we are literally barefoot and walking either on the grass or here, I'm walking on the red rocks, whenever you are grounding your feet into the earth with whatever practices, there are so many breathwork practices as well. That is also very grounding. Number three, knowing and maintaining your energy. So this is just kind of like, especially if you're in leadership, like you're a New Earth leader or you're a spiritual entrepreneur and you're leading your community, for instance, knowing and maintaining your energy is super, super important. So I talk about this a lot. And so it's when you're connected with your energy, you have an understanding of what your own energy frequency feels like in your body. You can literally feel a quote unquote disturbance in the force when there's a change or a shift in your field in regards to energy. And you can feel it when something is a little off, or you can feel it when something is augmented in your field, and you're just really like almost hyper aware of your energy field. And you're very connected with what that feels like in your body. So you are even connected to your own energy signature. So regular energy hygiene practices of clearing and protecting your energy on a regular, I would say even daily basis, is super important for this. And I know that so many of you practice this already. I see Ronald's share here. He wants to experience deeper 3D experience, deeper daily life experiencing. I hear you. So it sounds like there's this wanting to really connect that cosmic with the earthly plane for you. And we're definitely going there. So I'm glad you're here. And then we've got number four, healthy energy boundaries, where you are creating and maintaining them. Again, this is a daily practice I recommend. So really having these energy practices in place where not only are you connected with your energy field, but you are really attentive to what the energy is around you. So again, kind of like feeling the energy shifts, feeling if something is off, if something is like heightened, really understanding what your energy is like, but then also having the healthy energy boundaries. So this goes beyond just knowing when to say no for yourself, although that's very much part of it too. But it's really about being really diligent with your energy. So sometimes the practice of protecting your energy is part of this too. So it is having those protection of your energy systems in place. It is about having healthy energy boundaries so you're not overextending yourself. I'll give you one story about this to kind of illustrate it for you. So I had a friend and colleague who visited Sedona last year, and she had, I guess, a Reiki session or an energy work session. I think it was a Reiki session. And she felt so amazing afterwards. And the practitioner who was working on her said, "Well, you should. I gave you all of my energy." Right. And as soon as I heard that, I was like horrified. I'm like horrified. You should never be giving your energy. I mean, if anything, if you're really doing Reiki, and I'm a Reiki master teacher, you're a conduit, right? And Anna's feeling me on this. Excuse me, Barbara's feeling me on this. And so you're a conduit, right? You are not the energy, you are not the thing, right? And so I was really horrified when I heard that because I'm like, she's going to be super tired by the end of that year if that's how she practices, right? So I do not recommend that. And that is part of having healthy energy boundaries is knowing where you are applying your energy, where you're putting your attention, where you are putting your focus. So even if, like, for instance, if you're on social media a lot, I know Chiyun is on social media a lot, I'm on social media. And so you can even recognize, and maybe it's super subtle, where you're paying attention to certain like videos or content and you start noticing that you're getting like depleted. And when you are connected with your own energy boundaries and knowing what it is where you want to pay your attention, you are very intentional about, okay, I know that I am not here for XYZ kind of content. And so I am like, unfollowing certain people. I mean, I definitely do that very often. I mean, the end of last year, I unfollowed a ton of people on social media because I'm like, you know what? I'm not here for this anymore and I'm done. So, like I don't want to see XYZ. And I'm complete with that, right? And so, I mean, that for me is like an energy boundary where you're like, okay, I'm not seeing this kind of content anymore. I'm done because my energy and how I feel about myself is more important than whatever so and so is putting out there, so that's really important. That's just an example. But having healthy energy boundaries where you are super finely tuned and honed in on your energy is so important. So another thing too, around some of the foundations around embodiment, being intentional with what you put in your body that feeds your body and your frequency. This can be food, this can be social media content, this can be what you're reading, this can be what you're watching. I mean, as an example, I do not watch regular TV anymore because that's just so programmed with a ton of crap. Um, and is nodding her head over there. And it's just, there's just so much programming. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. And so really be diligent on what you're ingesting into your field, into your precious eyes, into your precious ears, into your heart, what you're eating. I mean, even what you're eating is super important because you want to be really aware of, when I eat such and such, I feel really draggy. I feel like I'm dragging. I feel like my energy's low. I feel like I'm scattered. I'm not grounded, for instance. Whereas if I eat such and such over here, I feel grounded. I feel a lot more sure of myself. I feel more connected to who I am. I feel clear in my head. These are signs that your body's telling you that eat more of this, ingest more of this, don't do more of this stuff over here, the stuff that's making you scattered and making you grounded, and even the people that you are around. And I hate to say it because I know that a lot of us have been doing a lot of inner work around this, especially last year, around the company you keep. I mean, they say that you are a reflection of the five people who are closest to you. And so if anyone in the five closest, people in your field, in your circle, if any of them are super scattered or ungrounded or they're complaining a lot, I mean, that's going to rub off on you, right? So you want to be really diligent about that. And then vice versa, if you are surrounding yourself with people who are uplifting you, who are holding you high, even when you're like, oh, I don't know if I can do that today. I don't feel like doing that today. Or, like last time I tried this, I felt like crap. I don't feel like doing that anymore. And someone who can like lift you up and be like, remember, you promised this to yourself, who can hold you accountable, who can, be nourishing just being around you, so, being really diligent about that. So having that intentional field of energy, like curated, I would say, like that's really important. So the reason why that's necessary, when you're in your leadership, if you are not present with your body, then you're going to start checking out when you have like high stakes decisions, when you're, you know, making decisions that involve money. And, if you are not connected with how that feels in your body yet, for instance, you might be avoiding conversations around money, and that would directly affect how you show up as a spiritual entrepreneur if you are one. And also, you might be leading from dissociation, for instance, right? If you're in your leadership and you're not connected to your body, then you might be dissociating, out there in the world. And that can be really dangerous, especially if you're serving folks, for instance, right? So now we're going to talk about the next level of embodiment. The first thing I will say about that, number one, having the capacity to embody more of your power. So you have an energy field, you have a container of light that you already possess, like right now, right here, and it can hold so much. It can hold X amount, right? But when you expand your container, and our activation is definitely going to do that, when you expand your container in a super intentional way, then that container expands so that you can actually hold more energy, hold more light, hold more power, and even hold more wealth. But that is a field that if you do not expand that container, then you can only hold so much, and what you can hold is limited. And so I want to let you know that when you regularly open your energetic container, you have the power to hold more power, hold more visibility, hold more energy, hold more responsibility. And I don't know if that word responsibility might trigger you a little bit. If not, that's fine. If it does, that's okay. Because as you hold more power, you will hold more responsibility because you are expanding your capability and your power as you expand your capacity to hold more light and more power and light. And when you hold more power, you will actually have more responsibility because you can manage it, for lack of a better term. You're able to manage more power, more light, more energy. Not only just hold it, but you can work with it more easily. You are able to expand it more easily at will, right? And so, when you are able to do this, then you are able to hold more light, obviously. But when expansion happens without this level of embodiment and holding more power, then leaders start living in the upper realms where they start avoiding kind of the physical reality. And so I see this sometimes with, some really well-meaning frequency, high frequency, super cosmic folks who are easy to go into the cosmic realms, but then maybe they're like not paying their bills, or they're not grounded, or they're scattered, or they are avoiding money, right? Or they don't have any boundaries, or they get lost on logistics of things. Or maybe they're just simply disconnected from their own body, like period, right? And that to me is tragic because if you're cosmic, that means you have a high level capacity to work with a higher frequency. But then if you're not grounded in that 3D physical reality, then you may not be able to really show up and have that impact you're meant to have. So, for instance, you will feel if you don't increase your capacity to hold more power, more light, you may feel like being connected to your power is unsafe. And so, if you're going to feel unsafe with your own power, you're going to be subconsciously pushing it away. So any moments where, like let's say you're a great speaker, but maybe you're not able to hold your power in that way, right? So you might actually subconsciously be afraid of speaking. You might be pushing away speaking engagements. You might be pushing away opportunities where you get to shine. And that may happen if you can't hold that, right? Or for instance, you may feel like having more clients will feel really heavy instead of feeling energizing. Or maybe your visibility at the next level, whatever that looks like for you, maybe that's triggering. Maybe that makes you feel anxious. Instead of making you feel like, oh, wow, I'm in my momentum. This feels really great. I love, connecting with folks, or maybe having money and that maybe that triggers you, right? Because if you are unable to expand your wealth frequency, then having more money beyond what you currently have will trigger constriction within you versus freedom, so that's why it's really important to really connect with that within yourself. The second thing I will say about the next level of your embodiment is embodying your leadership. So this is important because you embody your leadership power more when you make clear decisions and you move quickly. So I know a lot of us in the spiritual community where we all just like to feel into things and we like to take our time and stuff and that's all well and good and there's so many moments for that. But when you're in your leadership and you really trust your intuition, you will literally get your intuitive download. It lands through your crown chakra, it lands in your heart, it lands in your field, and it's present. It's like there in a millisecond. And then when you quickly act on it, that is when you actually create more physical embodiment of your leadership because your quick energy action, like the action you take on your energy, on your intuition, when you act quickly on that and perform whatever it is your intuition is sharing with you, and you do that now, it really amplifies your leadership. And it actually also strengthens your intuition because your intuition is like a muscle. The more that you like connect to it and act on it and take action with it, the more that you are going to be connected with it. Also, when you're embodying your leadership, you don't wait for permission to shine, you just do. And so anyone who has been opening up into the next level of their power and leadership and visibility, you're going to always feel this at the next threshold. So if you think you've been visible, that's awesome. You're going to be called into the next level of what being visible looks like. And it may trigger you if you're doing it correctly, right? So you don't wait for permission to shine. You just do. So for instance, I saw this meme on social media like 2 days ago, and it was just so funny and so real. And it said, don't ever be afraid to shine. Remember, the sun does not give a fuck if it blinds you. So, so true, because that is the level of conviction you get to have in yourself. No matter how brightly you shine, no matter who you threaten with your super light frequency, right? Because you will, have others, whether it be in your circle, whether it be social media, whether it be in your family, even, where they will feel triggered by your light. And maybe in the beginning of all of this, maybe you dimmed down your light a little bit because you just wanted to kind of either keep the peace, not deal with the, agitation and the irritation and the discomfort and all that. But then you have allowed yourself to say, you know what? F it. I am showing up anyway because this is who I am, and this year gets to be a new year of embodiment, which is very much connected with authenticity. And authenticity, believe it or not, is a higher frequency than love. And it is so, so important because it is just the truth. It's the truth of who you are. It's the truth of your heart. It's like a literal reflection of your God light in the world and in the universe. So if you are authentic, If you're being real with yourself, if you say yes when you mean yes, if you say no when you mean no, if you speak your truth in a way that is super real and true to you, even if other people are like, who do you think you are? Right? Because especially if you are stepping up higher and higher and higher, um, you are going to get that. Who do you think you are? You think you're so special, right? Especially if you carry very high frequency codes, you're going to be feeling that. And that's okay. And I just want to give you permission to accidentally, or maybe intentionally, I don't know where you're coming from on that, accidentally piss people off, accidentally, create some discomfort or rock the boat, right? Gian is sharing, I've already been experienced triggering more people by showing up authentic. Great. Congratulations, Gian. Woohoo! I clap you up on that because that's awesome. And that is beautiful because if you are being really you, then that's beautiful, because we need more authentic people in the world, being real with who they are. And so embodying your leadership is directly connected to your authenticity. If you are not really authentic with yourself, I would dare to say you're not even in leadership, right? Because it takes you being in your own leadership to be like, you know what? I'm okay with being the first one to say XYZ. I'm okay with the first one to show up and do this, right? I'm the first one who is going to rock the boat on this topic, strategy, understanding, wisdom, whatever in the world, and I'm okay with that. And usually I tend to attract those folks who like to rock the boat a little bit. And so, if you're here watching live or watching on the replay and you're attracted to my work, I would dare to venture that it's because there's some level of how I show up in my authenticity that you resonate with. And the reason why that is because you, on some level, are doing the same thing, or you're wanting to do the same thing, or you're wanting to do the next level of that same thing, right? So you get to be okay with rocking the boat and you get to be present with that, right? Like, I mean, that's where the whole dissociation thing sometimes comes to play. If you're not embodied in your leadership and someone does not like the fact that you're rocking the boat and they say so, and they're in your face about it, for instance, and it's very concerning for you, are you the type who will stay present with your body, who will be there and, literally be there for you because that's really what's going on? Are you going to be there for yourself when shit hits the fan, when people disagree with you, when people call you out in their own way, right? Can you be present in your heart and in your body and in your spirit and with your words and speak your authenticity even then? In a way that is neutral, in a way that is true to you, in a way that is not triggered or emotional or where you're melting down or something, right? I mean, we see that a lot on social media. If you're on it, is, people not having that emotional regulation. And that's a skill and that's a practice. And that's something that you get to have for yourself. So you get to trust your intuition, you get to take quick action on it. Because here's the thing, people will feel your authority and your leadership without even you opening your mouth. Because if you are really embodied, like this, your entire being is radiating this authentic code that you carry, that God gave you, right? Then people will feel that before you even open your mouth. Like you can literally enter a room and the energy will shift in that room because of you. And that is because you have been authentic with yourself. You are in leadership with your own energy because someone who is not, for instance, would, kind of pull their energy back a little bit, like they're maybe not sure about the people in this room. Whereas someone who's in their leadership, they know who they are. They're comfortable with that. They're comfortable with the reactions, if any, they would experience by being so in a room full of strangers, and they're okay with that, you know? So allow yourself to be so embodied at that next level that you can feel that exude from your existence that, people on Mars can feel it, right? Or beings from Mars. I don't know if they're people, but beings on Mars can feel you, right? So the price of not embodying your leadership at the next level, though, that means that opportunities are going to pass you by. You won't be standing in your authority. You won't be making the impact that you want to be making. You might delay some decisions. You might start getting imposter syndrome because you're holding back on your power, right? And this is where I see people have imposter syndrome the most, is when they are holding back on their power and then they see the result of that reflected to them in the physical world. And then they're like, oh my God, I'm just such an imposter. Like, what am I even doing? I don't belong here in this room full of like super cosmic, super intelligent, impactful people. I don't belong here. And the only reason you feel that way is because you haven't accepted all of your power, right? So you want to transcend your imposter syndrome by being fully immersed and in full acceptance of your power, no matter how big or weird you consider it, or woo you consider it, or, maybe you feel like you live in a small neighborhood, for instance, and you're afraid to shine too brightly. Do it anyway. Do it anyway, because otherwise you will not make the impact you're meant to make, because you will not be connecting with the people you're meant to connect with. So that was embodying your leadership. And the last thing that I will say on the next level of your embodiment is being connected at the next level to your mission, to your money and wealth, and to your power. Like, all of them are connected. And so your body, as I mentioned before, your body is a conduit for how your mission in the world is expressed. So your body is what carries your work into the world. And so if your body is tense, if it's scattered, if it's depleted, if you're burned out, your mission will just always feel heavy. And you're not going to feel clean and alive with it. It's not going to feel energized. And that's because either, number one, you're not connected to your mission, or number two, you are not connecting it with your body. The other thing I will say about this is that receiving money is also an embodiment and capacity issue. So as you grow your impact through your spiritual business and leadership, you will bump up against the next threshold of impact, which will require you to be able to hold more power, more money, more visibility, and more reach. Like, you need to be able to hold that in your being and be like, you know what, I'm okay with more wealth, right? But if you don't have the capacity to hold more money, you won't grow in your business or your impact. So for an example, there are a lot of things that I hear in the spiritual community and among spiritual entrepreneurs, and sometimes, especially when they may first be starting out, I'll hear that, they'll believe that money is corrupt, money is not spiritual, charging for spiritual work is wrong. Like, I hear that from a lot of people, especially people who are not in the spiritual community. Like, they think that people who have healing gifts and abilities should like be giving it away for free, for instance. Or they say that capitalism is bad, or they say profit means I'm exploiting someone, or it means I'm taking from somebody, right? And all of that is illusion. All of that is false, because really money and wealth is just energy. And if you're really connected with energy, you can connect with the energy of your money, and you can work with the energy of money, right? It doesn't need to be this charge of like, oh my God, money, gross, ew, like, or even on the converse, like being like, wow, yes, like that kind of energy, right? It's neutral. And it's also just a tool. And a comparison I've shared sometimes is, money is like a tool, like a hammer, for instance, right? If you have a hammer, that hammer is just being a hammer. It's neutral, right? So you can either destroy something with that hammer, or you can build a new house with that hammer, right? But it depends on what you do with that hammer that, creates whatever you want to create, whether that's destruction or a new house. And that's the same thing with money. Money is just a tool. Money is just a tool to, if you are of light and you love to, work with light, then you are probably the type of person who is going to create more with your money, right? Like maybe you're going to create more experiences for your clients that are even more high level. Maybe you are going to invest in systems in your business so that you can, uh, have things be more streamlined so you can serve more people. So you can do so much with money, right? Money does not need to mean that you are corrupt or that you're bad or that you're unspiritual or that, you're this, really bad person who is not helping the world because you can do so much when you have money. Can you imagine if you are a high frequency being and you mean well in the world and you have a big heart in the world? Can you imagine what you can do with money? You can create more love and light in the world. You can create more shifts and transformation in the world. You can reach more of your people. And you can do that with money. So it's just a tool. And so just realize that anytime you hear all this old paradigm stuff, that's just really with the old paradigm. And you're not taking anything from anyone when they pay you. Like I spoke with a colleague once and he had this hang up and it was really deep underneath where he's just like, oh, I don't feel comfortable charging people. And when I was talking with him, I realized he felt that when he charged for his services, he felt like he was taking from his client, when that's not the reality. That person is investing in their own transformation, in their own life by investing in your service. And so you are actually being in service by selling your services, So I just want to, I'll get off my soapbox in a moment about that, but that's just super important because you are literally serving people when you are selling and marketing to them. And it's not about capitalism is bad. It's not about money corrupts. It's not about you're taking something from somebody if they pay you. No, they are creating their sovereign connection with you. They are standing in their sovereignty by investing and saying, I want to better myself. I want to go to the next level. I want to heal from XYZ by investing in this coach, by investing in this embodiment mentor or, yoga teacher or Reiki master practitioner, right? Like, I want to live a better life by investing in this person's services because I feel I'm worthy of that, right? That's what it really comes down to. And so, as you can imagine, sometimes when it comes to money, there's a worth concern. And maybe even you have it, right? Maybe you're concerned like, oh, I'm not worthy of charging XYZ in order to share my services, right? And the reality is that you are. You are absolutely worthy of creating a massive transformation in someone's life. And they are absolutely worthy of investing themselves at the level you charge because they're worthy of receiving that level of care and that level of support, right? So, I mean, think about it like that because that is the truth of what's happening. So, I know I've kind of thrown a lot at you just now, but what, share in the chat, how are you feeling about all of this, everything I've just shared? Are you getting any ahas over any of this? Are you getting any breakthroughs over what I've shared? Are you noticing that you're already doing some of this? Or are you noticing that maybe it's a next step for you? Like, what are you noticing? Either feel free to put it in the chat or feel free to unmute yourself and share, because I'd love to hear.
No, I'll unmute myself. Hi.
Yeah, hi.
Hi, I'm Chiyun. One of the things I think that stood out the most for me just now was I feel like I've been doing a lot of the steps to maintain embodiment, to like maintain my threshold. But one of the things that I've not been investing in as much in is doing an energy practice, which is, I feel kind of silly that I haven't been. Because I've been trying to maintain physical exercise, touching grass, meditating, keeping up with having charged water, healthy foods, and also plenty of rest. But I think that's just one of the things that I forget to do for myself, even though I t- tell other people to do that. So I think for me of oh yeah, it does help, and I should be doing that too. So that was the main thing.
Yeah, yeah. And it's all good because there's always, we always just try our best and our best is enough, And so when we remember to do certain practices that we know suits us, then awesome, right? But I mean, there will be those moments where you forget or, something pops up and maybe you get a little scattered and then you have to come back to center. And I mean, it's just life sometimes, but at the same time, good. Now you're aware of this and you're aware that, okay, so I get to practice more energy, boundaries. I get to cultivate my energy more. So great. Now you get to work on that because you're aware of that. So as you know, the awareness is like that first step. So I'm glad you shared that. Thank you, Chiyun. Anyone else want to share anything? Either in the chat, you can share in the chat if you like, or if you want to unmute yourself, feel free to do so if you want to do a little quick share.
I can.
Hi,
Hi.
Anna.
Hi. So I think the thing that really hit most is next level of visibility because I've really been working on that. But yeah, I still have levels to go to get to impact that I want to be at with people. So I'm not quite sure what is holding me back from that, but it's
Hmm.
definitely it's been coming up for years now. So I'm like, oh, okay. Feel like I've been
Hmm.
working on it for years too, but and I have improved. I mean, usually I would just be old me would have just you would have seen my cat instead of me, and I wouldn't have spoken up. So
Well, I love that your cat is so present. They're loving the vibe in your masterclass right now. So
yeah,
I love that. But yeah, there's always a next level, I mean, if you've been showing up, congratulations on that. And also there's always a next level, right? So I'm curious, you just only need to be thinking about what's that next step. And so if you've already been showing up in visibility up until this point, what does that next step look like for you? Like just
well, I
one.
already, I know because I have a schedule that I need to set up to help bring more clients in, and I've been putting it off for a month.
Hmm.
So I know the next step. And I did actually take a step to help me with that yesterday. So yeah,
So you
working on
took
it.
a little bit of a step yesterday towards that, right?
Yes.
Awesome. That's great. And also, yeah, you know what the next step is. And so it sounds like there's like a little trepidation, a little fear right beforehand before really going into the next step of you got your schedule and all that because what would it mean if you actually embodied that schedule that you just created? What would
More
that mean? You know?
more money, more clients, more money.
And what would be the problem with that?
Nothing.
But there is a problem of it, right? Because
Yeah,
it's
because
so.
I procrastinate. So
hmm Is there something you're afraid of with having more money or more clients?
nothing that I'm aware of.
Hmm. Okay. Well, you know what? Let that gestate a little bit, just feel that a little bit because there's something there.
Right.
Yeah. So, but thank you for sharing that. So it sounds like visibility for you, Anna, at that next level and implementing your schedule. So because you already know your next step. So there's something there to uncover. Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you for
Thank you.
sharing. Yeah. Anyone else would like to share? Feel free to unmute yourself or share in the chat. Yeah, Chiyun also loves cats, as she shared in the chat. Anyone else want to share? Okay. All right. So that said, everything we've explored today with embodiment, the basics, the next level of it, what that could look like. So obviously there are pieces around visibility coming up for folks, at that next level, or, wanting to be more connected on the energetic level and be in more refinement with energy practices. And it's one thing to really get activated in your power and being able to hold more power, right? But then the next step after that, the other part of the equation really is to be embodied in and integrated in your power so that you can really kind of live that way. So it's kind of like your life, right? And so I did create a container for spiritual leaders who are ready to integrate what's been activated. And that container is called the 3-month mentorship accelerator. So this is a private accelerator for sovereign leaders, visionaries, and spiritual entrepreneurs who are ready to go into that next level of their sovereignty and their power and hold and embody more power. And Barbara's sharing, I sometimes have the same issues, Anna, of visibility and also concerns regarding making the time needed available. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Barbara. And oftentimes, what I notice is that the concern around the time usually is not the concern around the time, if you know what I mean. Like, usually there's something underneath there about what that will take away from you, for instance, or what you believe it will take away from you if you were to show up and be more visible, right? So, Anna, that might be something that might jog something for you, perhaps. But, this accelerator that, I am sharing with you, this is something that is a container where I hold a lot of high integrity light, where it's all for those established spiritual leaders and entrepreneurs who are embodied enough to feel where their next edge is. So this is who the accelerator is for. So they are already embodied on some level, but they are ready to take that next step, or maybe your growth or your visibility or your income has increased and you're ready to hold more power, but you just don't know how. Or people who trust their intuition and take quick action on it. And also leaders who value discernment and depth over quick fixes and who see embodiment as a necessity, not a luxury. And so before I forget, I'm going to share a link here where if you want to apply for the 3-month mentorship accelerator, you can do so at this link here that I've shared in the chat. But if you're curious about who this accelerator is not for, then I would say it's for beginners who are seeking healing for the first time, for instance, or they're looking more for validation, or they're kind of wanting to have more identity work, or anyone who's wanting something that's very passive as a program, or they're looking for a lot of hand holding. That's not what this is. Or anyone who might be uncomfortable for whatever reason in regards to responsibility, money, their own power, leadership, or visibility, and anyone who is waiting to feel ready too. Anyone who's outsourcing their power, who don't understand that it's right within you, right? So I would say that that is who it's also not for. But this is a private, high-level mentorship container, and we're not going to be doing mindset work necessarily. Sometimes I touch on that. The focus is not necessarily strategy, although I can help you with that. But it's really a deep container where I'm going to be with you and we're going to transform some deep work. Sometimes what happens is that people transform like ancestral patterns that are outdated and that don't serve them. That's something that for some reason that shows up a lot for my clients. So I tend to be really supportive in regards to transforming that because also what I've noticed about the people who tend to be attracted to the work that I do is that they are the generational rule breakers. They are the ones who are the trauma breakers, the pattern breakers. They're the ones who are willing to be the first one in their family who say, all of this crap ends with me. All of this, outdated, old matrix, old paradigm stuff that my foremothers or my forefathers have been experiencing, it stops with me because, and I'm okay with that. I am I am responsible enough. I am worthy enough. I am talented and gifted enough. And I am capable enough of shifting all of this for my entire bloodline. Like that is something that I know um, I can help you with. And also that, people who really feel drawn to my work are wanting to transform that. And also sometimes it's just you're pivoting, right? Like I'm seeing this like in 2025, a lot of shit hit the fan for a lot of leaders, like some of the things that weren't working that usually work for them don't work anymore. Like maybe it's certain strategies that worked and now all of a sudden they don't work anymore. Or maybe it is, certain people that they've had amazing, loving, healthy relationships, all of a sudden they're toxic, or maybe they first realized that they're toxic and they might have had to transition out of that relationship. And that's very hard, especially if you've been doing stuff like that, if you've been with this person for years, for instance, or you're just pivoting and maybe like you got a billion downloads in the past couple of years, and now it's reflecting in your work, and now you don't know how to show up in your work at that elevated level with integrating all of these new gifts, all of these new downloads. And maybe you want, a sounding board on that, I'm really great with pivoting because that's something that I had to do when I first started out in private practice as an acupuncturist and a Reiki master teacher, and then later on as a medicine woman. I had a brick and mortar business. And then I went online, I went virtual, and I started coaching and doing mentorship for New Earth leaders and spiritual entrepreneurs and visionaries such as yourself. And I just segued, and I continued with that path. And now I serve people all around the world. And I've had, clients in New Zealand, Australia, UK, Botswana, even. And like, I'm spacing out on some of the names, but all around the world. And this is something that's really inspiring to a lot of folks who are doing this work. And maybe you have been doing brick and mortar, and maybe you're now ready to go virtual, and or maybe your pivot looks like something else, but maybe it's your time to open up into this next level of your sacred work. And I can definitely help you with that. So if that's something you're interested in, go ahead and click the link and apply for the 3-month mentorship accelerator. And before I mention anything else, I want to say that I have a little bonus if you decide to step into the accelerator in the next 72 hours. So like basically I'm going to have this limited replay period of this exact masterclass. And at the end of that replay period is also the end of this bonus being available. And that bonus is a power activation intensive, which is valued at $3,000 that you get as a bonus if you step in within the next 72 hours. And what my power activation intensive is, it's a 2-hour deep dive where I go really, really deep with you. And sometimes I just go straight into the root of whatever's been blocking you from your power up until this point in your life. And we just blast that shit right open. And we transform it with love, right? And I know that I have some colorful language sometimes, but it's always about the love, and it's always about the amplification of your light. And one thing that my clients know about me is that when I'm in your corner, I am in your corner, and nothing budges me from that space. And so that is where we go in your intensive. We get you one breakthrough that is blocking you from your power at this very moment, and we transform that by the end of that intensive. That's what we're doing. And also there's an activation in there that is personalized, tailored to you. So that is what you get if you decide to step in with your deposit in the next 72 hours. And that begins with applying for the accelerator. So that is the link here. Chiyun is sharing, I can attest, I've done a power activation intensive and it's very powerful and accurate. Thank you so much, Chiyun. Yeah, we blasted, we blasted some things open during that time. Yeah. And that's why it also comes, this intensive, it actually comes with an integration call, because one thing that I realized is that when people experience the activation at the end of the intensive, they're just so blown away and blissed out, and all these downloads come in, and all these things change, and their timelines change. So, they need some assistance with um, integrating all that. So that's why I have an integration call, which usually happens a week after the intensive. But so that said, now we have a little time for some Q&A. So here's where you can get some laser coaching. If you have some questions about your path right now, about your embodiment, maybe it's about some of the content I shared in the training earlier, or maybe there's something that's really confusing you about your next level of embodiment with your power. So let me know. Feel free to unmute yourself or include it in the chat, whichever one you prefer. But yes, let this be a time where you get some answers to something that's maybe been burning there under the surface for you, around your power, around your impact, around how you show up and serve. Maybe it's around your offers. Maybe it's around the way you're showing up. Maybe it's around interactions with family members or loved ones as you show up in a really powerful way. So let me know in the chat, or feel free to unmute yourself and just ask. Because that quick action, when you take quick action on the intuitive downloads you're getting today, you will get the answers you need. Any questions? Or do you know it all? Do you know everything?
I have a question.
Oh, yes, Chian.
Uh, yeah, that reminds me. I just watched a funny little reel about like the red flags of spirituality and like those communities, and it was specifically making fun of like star seeds, and it was one of those funny like, oh, if I wasn't necessarily embodied, I'd probably be triggered by this. But I do understand that one of the things that they brought up was some of the things they brought up is very performative, and there are people that act like that. But I don't know why that made me think of it, because it was the I know everything, I'm from the stars, and you know.
Yeah.
But my question is, after like 3i Atlas came and gone, like my dreams kind of took on a different lens. I don't know how else to explain it other than like my dreams normally have like a specific filter when I see it, but when 3i Atlas came into the picture, it changed the filter, and so I feel like my gifts or my those kind of skills are have been calibrated and shifting ever since all of that happened, and I got quite a bit of downloads that I'm doing what I feel like I've been doing for my business, and that I'm supposed to be doing that. Like I feel very like this is an alignment. It feels right. It feels heart like centered. But then I also feel called to expand more and to add all of the pieces. So not just the professional coaching side, but the quirky cat lover and like the full wholeness of the authenticity, right? And so I see with those visions that there's like so much more than what I'm doing right now. And I see that there's a disconnect. Like I tap into that version of me and I'm like, okay, there's a lot going on here. There's a lot that I need to do to maintain this frequency. And I have like the building blocks that you talked about earlier. Like that's what I've been implementing. So it's like I know practice and consistency will get me to where I need to be. But like, is there? I'm not necessarily looking for like a cheap trick, but like other than consistency and practice, are there ways to like accelerate that process of the capacity that I have now to meet the capacity to where I need to be? If that makes
Hmm.
sense.
So it sounds like you've been showing up, you're feeling really good and aligned with how your business is now. But what is but you mentioned that there's a disconnect almost. And can you speak into that a little bit more specifically about what that is and what that is you want to get a resolve about?
Yes. So the disconnect is like we've talked about before. Like I'm brand new into my business. It's been about a year since I built this foundation, um, and so it's not uncommon to not see much impact or like results because of the work that I've been building on. Um, So I keep showing up, I keep doing what I'm doing, and I can see the impact as it's like unfolding. I can see it, but there's still I guess I still have a desire for the outcome, that there be like money involved in
Mhm.
it, because I can see that when I talk to people, when I connect with them, when I do just like the brief like reaching out, like there is impact, there is connection, but I'm still not seeing the results that I would like to see. Uh,
Okay.
so
So do
that
you,
come from.
okay, thank you for that. So do you feel like it's a piece around how to make sales or how to put your work out there? Or is it something more about something you're believing in yourself? Because I recall you mentioned earlier in this masterclass that you've been playing small. So is that, or is it that? Is it because you've been playing small? Or is it something else? What is your heart saying?
I feel it has to do with the playing small. Like that I feel was a big piece that I had not been able to see because I had been so focused in, like instead of zooming out to see the big picture. Um, and that I'm playing small because I think that if I'm playing small, then I'm going to be more consumable or easily digestible for other people. But one thing I do know about myself is that my energy is not for everyday consumption for most people, and that's okay. It doesn't. I don't have to be right. I don't have to minimize myself to make myself more accessible. But I feel like I've had to do that within like survival patterns in order to just feel like I belong, like I'm not going to be outcasted, or
Yeah.
of things.
Yeah, so what I'm hearing is that there's maybe some lingering, I won't say it's like prominent, but there's some lingering like survival stuff that's playing into this. And so if that's still kind of playing into things, there's some part of you that's feeling like you're not going to be supported, right? There's this kind of like, oh, it's just a matter of time until I'm not supported, right? The kind of like vibe, even if logically you're not saying that or, being aware of that. But there's a little piece that is enough to be like, oh, I'm just going to fail anyway. It's not going to show up for me, right? And so as long as that little nugget is there as truth for you, then there will be a reflection of saying, oh, you're right, Shion. Yeah, no one's going to be showing up. No one's going to be buying your stuff, right? So that's one piece. The other piece is I think that perhaps where you get to go deeper, you get to be even more specific. Like that might be the challenge for you, is to be even more specific, even though it's a little scary that like, oh gee, if I'm even more specific about the type of person I serve and exactly how I serve them, then I'm not going to reach more people. And you may have, I think you had expressed earlier that there was a topic that you spoke on, and it was kind of like a general topic, and that may sometimes give more engagement, which is good, and there's always space for that. But sometimes when that's all we do, and I don't think that's all you're doing, but I'm saying that when people only do that, they only want to like get engagement. So that means that they're going to say things that are very vague, that are very general, that are very across the board and very umbrella, and which means that their particular ideal client is getting ignored. And so you get to be even more specific with who you serve, how you serve them, how specifically you serve them, why because maybe some people are like, well, I don't know what she does, or maybe some people are like, well, that's great, but like, how does that help me? Because I mean, if they can't put themselves in what you're describing, then they're going to be like, well, that's nice, but I'm not compelled, right? So you get to be a little bit more bold with your words, with what you really feel, with how you really can help. And you get to toot your own horn a little bit, where it's okay for you to be like, I specifically serve XYZ folks. And that's okay that you're excluding some people because the people who don't feel excluded are your people. And when you are super specific like that, then those people are going to feel heard. They're going to be like, yeah, okay. So now, like, so I think she's talking to me. I'm going to send her a DM, because I think she can help me, right? Because right now, maybe it's because you're playing small, you're being too vanilla about stuff. You know, maybe you're being too generic or general or, you know, kind of like umbrella about the topic you're talking about. There gets to be more dialed in, more power, more boldness. And that's what I would say, you know, you get to do. I mean, this is the kind of stuff that, we can go over in like an accelerator, and just really go deeper into what that looks like specifically. But I would say go bold, be more bold, and maybe like, and I think the calculation that you can have energetically around that is if it feels like it's a little too much, it's a little too scary, that's perfect. It should feel like that when you're creating content. You should feel a little bit like, oh, this is a little too much. This is a little too bold. I don't think it's scary. It should be a little scary. And then, that is exactly what you should put out
Okay.
because you're going to be pushing yourself. And that's the best way to do it. And then just start analyzing the data. What comes back? Are people engaged? Are they not? Why do you think that is? Are they DMing you? Like what's happening? And just like take it as, data.
Mhm.
So,
Okay. Cool. Well, thank you. I actually did do a post recently that was kind of stretchy, and I did get some interesting feedback of like someone that totally got it and was like understanding of everything that I was talking about, and then someone that had no idea what was going on, and that became like an
good.
conversation. But much grace as possible. So I'm grateful to hear that even what I'm kind of doing already is in alignment with what you're sharing. So I will keep doing that, and I'll keep gathering the data and just practice being more bold. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Because I mean, you've got it in you. So just let yourself just like push your own buttons a little bit, and that's good. If you're getting pushback from, someone, but you're also getting like massive agreements in one thing and in another aspect, then that's really good because then you have, created content that makes people think, whether they're agreeing with you or they think it's ridiculous, like that's fine. And as long as they're being respectful about their disagreement with you, then you can showcase yourself a little bit and, this is how I would approach this topic kind of thing, or, I agree with you, but, or, like having some evidence there of how you would address someone who doesn't agree with you in a way that's neutral so that people can see how you lead. You know, I mean, if they're just being nasty, then you get to block and delete those people. But if it's someone who's really being earnest about like, here's my viewpoint, then you get to share something neutrally to show your leadership. So that can also be positioned in a good way for you. Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. Um, Anyone else have a question? Feel free to unmute yourself or share it in the chat. And then if not, we can go straight into the activation. But let me know. I feel like there's a lingering question out there in the ether. So I'm gonna just give you a few moments to either unmute yourself or to share in the chat. Let me know. This is your chance. No? You good? Okay. So that said, I invite you to turn off your phone unless you're on your phone. Shut the door. Make sure you are not going to be distracted or interrupted in the next few moments and minutes. If you want to sit up and receive this activation, make sure your spine is nice and long. If you want to, you can, you know, lay on the couch or lay on the bed or whatever you're next to if you prefer that. But I'm just going to go ahead and situate. Um, I was tapping into the energy for today's activation, and I heard the word celestial. And so I do feel there's a celestial component. It feels very connected to star star energy, but also angelic. So, there's just this celestial energy. It is coming in. Today is 1/11, so there's a lot of kind of energy around this portal time. And so I am inviting our teams of light to assist, and only those of the highest frequency of love and light are allowed to attend and assist. And I set the intention that only that which is for your highest comes forward today. And there's only room for that, nothing else, nothing less. So just get comfortable. So I'm just connecting in with the field, with our field, the field of all of those who have registered for today's masterclass, whether you're live or watching this on replay. You are taking part in this activation. And one thing that I know about my activations is that they're not just activations for you. It is an activation for humanity. It is an activation for the world. And so you might even see some reflections of this as kind of an after effect and a reverberation. So just allow yourself to drop your energy down into your heart. So whatever you've been thinking about today, processing, whatever, just let that fall off your shoulders for now. Just for now. This is all about you. So any of your to-dos, any of the things you're thinking about for later today or this week or this month or this year, just for this moment, just let that fall off your shoulders like water off a duck's back. And just allow yourself to anchor in at the heart level, and then anchor in at the root level, at the tip of your tailbone. Those are the two places where you're getting most anchored right now. And I'm seeing this swirling of cosmic energy above us. It almost looks like the Milky Way, and it's swirling above us. And I'm seeing it emit a cosmic light. It almost looks like a light of laser, but it's this laser of cosmic frequency that is touching down on Earth. And it's just like this laser focused beam of light that is cosmic, and it's coming in down from the center of the Milky Way down into the Earth's stratosphere. And as it enters the Earth's stratosphere, it's already energizing the entire planet on the stratospheric level. And it's allowing for that cosmic frequency to start almost kind of like raining, like rain of light sparkles from the stratosphere. But as it enters the stratosphere, this single beam of cosmic light that has sparkles and glitter and this cosmic energy about it, it's now starting to refract into 1 billion light rays. And they're touching down all over the world. And one of those light rays is touching down where you're at right now. And as it touches down in your home and where you live, it's energizing your entire house with this cosmic light ray. And also, it's now infusing almost like a field of cosmic celestial energy. It's infusing your entire home with this field of celestial light. And as it does so, I'm noticing that it's actually clearing energetically some areas of your home that might have some stagnant energy. So some corners are being transmuted, some rooms are being transmuted, like places under the bed or under cabinets, those are being transmuted so that it can be a unified field of cosmic light all throughout your home. And as you are in your home or wherever you are in right now, it is also infusing into you. So it's now being felt on your skin. Your pores are starting to open into the warmth of this cosmic field. And this cosmic field, it feels very unique in that it's not only just cosmic energy or cosmic light or celestial light, which does carry some angelic frequency. And I feel that's very connected to song. It's very connected to elevated music, almost like a new octave frequency. That's what the angels are bringing around this. But it's also bringing the sun energy very specifically. And that's infused. And so if you were to even see that one laser beam that came in from the center of the Milky Way down into the earth, you can even see within that column of cosmic light, there's almost like a hidden energy of the sun, of the sun codes. It's like this golden, I want to say this golden era frequency around your golden era. And it's being supported and surrounded by that cosmic energy, which is why it's not easily apparent when you're looking at this laser beam of light. But that is contained within this light beam. And so now it's revealing itself, this solar energy, this solar light. And so I'm seeing it feel like a concentration of the solar storms, the geomagnetic storms, the solar flares, all of that kinetic, moving, high frequency. And I'm feeling like this is coming in also from the beings of light that actually reside in the sun, because there are beings that live in the sun, and they're disembodied because they are of frequency and they are of light. But these are a gift from them. These are codes of the sun. It's almost kind of like these fresh sun codes, if that makes any sense. It's like kind of fresh off the off the griddle kind of energy, where it's like fresh solar codes that have traveled billions and billions of light years straight into the stratosphere of Earth, straight into your home, straight into your being. And these pure, angelic, celestial, solar, new, juicy, golden era codes are now being felt on the pores of your skin. And some of you are feeling it very directly in very specific areas. Some of you are feeling it specifically straight in the heart. Some of you are feeling it in the back of your neck. Some of you are feeling it on your face, kind of like on when you're outside on a warm, sunny day. Some of you are feeling it in your brain. Some of you may be feeling it in your pineal gland. Some of you may be feeling it in multiple areas of your body. And just know that this is the area that gets the upgrade first, because this is how you are leading your own golden era in 2026. So just make note of where you are first receiving this energy. Is it your heart? Is it your pineal gland? Is it somewhere else? That area of your body has something to do with you and how you are expanding at the next level of your embodiment this year. And so just allow your body to receive it in that specific place or places. And I see that it is melting away very peacefully and very lovingly. Just anything that you're holding in your body, whether it be a certain tension, a certain belief, a certain fear, it's just gently dissolving it into nothingness, into actually just pure light, just pure quantum energy. And we're going to take that quantum energy that is shifting and moving and shifting and moving, and we're going to reshape it. We're going to reshape all of that energy that has entered this quantum field. Some of it is some of the energy that's been transmuted in your home, or it's energy that's been transmuted in your body just now, or maybe it's somewhere else that you have transmuted. But let's bring that all together now. All those quantum particles, bring them together, and now shaping them into your next quantum field of embodiment. So maybe there's a part of you that you've really yearned for to experience within yourself. And maybe you're even seeing that right now if you're more clairvoyant and you're seeing that shift take place visually in your mind's eye. Just notice what's coming through. Or maybe it's like a feeling, a vibe you're having. Or maybe it's something you're hearing. Or maybe it's something that's just dropping in as a knowing. But just notice how your being desires to be embodied at the next level this year, because you're getting a glimpse of that right now. What does that look like? What are you doing in that next level of embodiment? What do you look like in this next level of embodiment? How are you wearing your hair? What do you have on your face as adornment? What are you wearing? What kind of shoes are you wearing, or are you barefoot? What kind of energy are you exuding? How far does your auric field go in this vision or experience you're having of yourself right now in this new level of embodiment? And it's also being clear to me that your future self is actually giving you this vision right now, or giving you this frequency right now, whatever it is you're experiencing around this next level of your embodiment. Your future self is actually broadcasting this to you right now. And so in this moment, I want you to connect with your future self, the one who is sharing this energy, this vision, this experience with you, and ask him or her, what is it that I need to know about this next level of embodiment right now? Let yourself ask it from the heart. And they're receiving it. And allow your future self to respond. Allow that to land in your field, in your throat, in your heart, in your body, in your organs. And I want you to see your future self. He or she's actually coming forward, stepping forward through the quantum realm, connecting with you now in the space and time dedicated to connecting with you. And in this moment, that future version of you is giving you codes specifically to assist you in this next level of embodiment. And so they are presenting them to you now. Maybe they look like physical objects. Maybe it sounds like a song. Maybe it feels like something and you can't visually see it. Or maybe you are just receiving it in your body immediately. However your body wants to receive this is fine. But in this quantum moment, your future self is giving you these codes that you specifically need at this very moment. So let yourself receive them, whether you're taking your hands and holding them in your hands or your arms, or maybe if you like, you can take those codes and you can place them in your heart. And as you do, it is now energizing that future version of embodiment, that you are. And now time and space is collapsing. And now it's just you stepping into that embodied next level version of you. Allow yourself to step into it right now, because that is you. Let yourself feel that, be that now. Feel that anchor into your soul. So this is anchoring in at the soul level. So it's not just a physical thing you're going to be feeling. At the soul level, this embodiment is taking place in all the multidimensional versions of you on different planes and different realms. All of them are feeling that embodiment upgrade right now. Allow that to land deeply and fully in your being, so deeply that there's literally no bottom to how deep it can go right now. It's just going, 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 limitless. This is the power of your embodiment. And now I'm going to expand your container of light that is currently how it is. Just notice, look at your container of light at this moment. So this is the container that you are in and that you hold. And just notice how it is right now. And notice how much you can hold with as big as it is at this moment. And now I'm going to invite you to expand it further out. Take it at about 5 feet out. And then feel all of that light fill into this newly expanded container of yours. And allow yourself to receive more light, more of your divine power, holding more of your own wealth. And now I'm going to expand it further, further, further out till it's beyond your house or wherever you're sitting in right now. And then further, further out beyond the state or country you're living in. And each time you are expanding, you are allowing it to fill with more light, more frequency, more power, more capacity to hold more love, more wealth, more joy. It's just super easy. And now I'm going to expand that container out to the universal frequency, out, 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 out into the nebulas next door, out into the universes next door, till it just feels limitless. And now allow yourself to receive more light. Allow yourself to receive more of your divine power just dropping in through your crown from your higher self. Your higher self is just plop, just dropping it in. More power for you, more light, more joy, more love, more wealth, more happiness, more impact. And in this moment, just feel how everything you desire right now, all the impact you desire to make, all the people you desire to serve as clients from a super aligned level, all the wealth you desire to create, all the joy you desire to experience. See how that is absolutely possible right now, in this moment. That is your truth. That is your reality. This is real. We are not just off doing some little woo-woo thing. This is reality. This is your capacity for light, for love, for power, for love, for impact and wealth. And feel this truth in your bones. that literally you can even see it on the DNA level replicating within your entire body, within the marrow of your bones. You can see this reality replicating into your DNA. And as that's now passing through and replicating in your DNA, replicating throughout the blood, and as the blood moves throughout your entire body, and every single aspect of your being is being energized by this higher code of you. And it's circulating easily, effortlessly. All of your possibilities, you still are very connected with it. You still see how easy it is for you to hold so much power. It's not too much. You're not overwhelmed. It's easy. This is your truth. Limitless. And now, in this moment, I invite you to just allow yourself to start bringing that energy in. Your container is still wide and out into the next nebula, but your frequency, and this is where you get to work with your energy a little bit, bring your energy back in to your being, back into planet Earth, back into the country you're living in, back into the state, back into your city, back into your home or wherever you're sitting in right now, and back into your being. Just as easily as you expanded out into the universe, you have easily come back to your body. Easily, easily. And in this moment, just allow yourself to sink in, almost like you're marinating in the juiciness of all this expansion, on all of the codes activated within your being, within this time frame. And allow that to settle in easily, cleanly, purely. And it feels very pure in your body, your vessel that holds so much light, knowing that at any given moment, if you desire, you can just simply just pop open that field, pop open your container again, and go to the next nebula. But this is how your energy is now contained. It's contained in your being. It's not overwhelming. It feels very easily because you know you are worthy of holding that much light, that much power, that much joy, that much love, that much wealth. Cleaning up the energies around your fields a little bit so you can contain this more deeply. And now feel it in your sit bones, this energy, feeling it even moving down your legs, down into your feet, down into the balls of your feet, and from the balls of your feet straight into the center of Gaia, because you're also gifting her this frequency of your light from that deeply expanded state. And we thank Gaia for her abundance, for her love, for her power, for her bounty, for holding us so deeply and so lovingly on this earth physically, as we send so much love to her. And she's receiving it with gratitude, and we receive her with gratitude. And with that grounded note, just allow yourself to anchor in deeply. Your energy is very much connected at the ball of your feet. You are anchored at your sit bones. You are feeling deeply connected in your heart center. And when you're ready, you can allow yourself to come back to your body fully, deeply, and completely. And gently open your eyes. Move your body if you like. Have a little stretch. Mm. Mm. Ooh. So you can see why I made the activation last, because I take you places. So how are you doing? How was that experience for you? Anyone want to share? If you don't, that's okay too. How's your body feeling? Did you notice anything come in that you weren't expecting or that you were actually wanting to see or experience?
I can share.
Yeah.
Working on that visibility thing. So, the third eye was where the energy came in, which I'm pretty used to that being open. So that's nothing new for me. Uh, the message from my future self was anchor in passion, which I like. That's nice. That's a good thing to focus on. The dragonfly was pretty prominent for me. I also saw an owl. And an interesting thing, I got a little flash of like it was a pig with like red eyes, which I kind of see as like the more darker like I got like so there's like something around like an angry, greedy pig energy that I need to like unpack and like figure out maybe that's what's blocking me.
Mm.
So, and then I saw like a fire too and like a pyramid and all sorts of random visuals. But so it was interesting. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. And yes, I do agree with you because upon you describing that, and even the way you termed it, that greedy pig, right? So there's a piece there that you get to unpack, explore, because, perhaps there's a part of you that feels that you're looking greedy and selfish by showing up on, more visibly. Maybe you're concerned that maybe you're going to be seen as a greedy pig, or that you are being looked at as, wanting to take and take and take, right? When the truth is that if you're really in service, you're actually giving, and it's not even coming from you specifically, right? It's coming from you as the conduit. So I would explore that belief, and maybe there's an energy around it that is kind of trying to influence you around, oh, you shouldn't be visible, you're a greedy pig, right? You should explore that and see if that's living anywhere in your body, in your field, and then transmute it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Hmm.
Thought it was maybe my mom, but
Well, who
so it could
knows?
be ancestral stuff too.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Looks like you got some things to explore.
Definitely. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Anyone else want to share what they experienced or what came through? Any feedback? Or are you blissed? Are you blissed and feeling things? Barbara is sharing. Thank you for the information. Oh, and Ronald as well. Ronald shared, wow, I got permission to make the angelic, the cosmic, and Gaia feel uncomfortable with me. Hmm. To make them feel that way, they have to upgrade to support me. It showed me how small I make myself to make them comfortable with me. This is a big piece and shows me how to make more impact. I felt much larger and more embodied with this. Beautiful. Yeah. And the angelic and cosmic and Gaia, I don't think they'd ever feel uncomfortable with you being big. I think it's probably this reflection of maybe your concern of making others feel uncomfortable, right? Because those who are truly supporting you in your journey will not feel uncomfortable about you being big, right? So I love that you've understood this about yourself. Thank you for sharing that, Ronald. And Barbara shares, thank you for the information and sharing activation, very powerful. My future self held out a little lamp with a flame, and we shared our light that way, each sharing our flame. Lovely. That's beautiful, Barbara. Thank you for sharing that. Beautiful. And Chiyun, anything you'd like to share, or you're good right now?
I have a little I can share. I didn't like there was a lot going on. I could feel like the waves of everything. Um, Kind of, it was almost like like waves of like I could hear you talking, and then I was like in it, like in the vision. So the one thought part like I thought was really interesting was when future self came into the picture. I don't know why. I think it's probably because I've been watching a lot of those really cheesy like Asian real dramas, like those little shorts of
Oh
the
yeah, those are
and
great.
yeah, they're great. They're we love the drama, right? So it was like that kind of scene of like a father, like you're not my family, and then it was like tying, like breaking these like blood ties, but then like my future self came down from like the celestial realm.
Mm,
Okay, let me show you what happens when the past that no longer can go with you finally, that break finally happens. And it was just like the all these remembrance codes of when you're bringing in like the solar codes and the beings and the sun, like all of that was super resonant. And it was just that that light I felt was emanating through me as I was envisioning myself almost like merging with this future version. And she's like dressed in these flowy, like kimonos and like garments, and
mm,
but just standing in her power, more like floating. She was flying, but standing in her power, like looking over the people that had claimed to be family, but then disowned. And it was like this kind of drama of, okay, well, if you don't want me, that's fine. Then I'll get to just step in my power and then be there for those that do want me in my power. So that was
mm.
kind of the gist of it. It was
Yeah,
pretty.
that's beautiful. That's
Yeah.
beautiful. I mean, as you were describing that, it felt like that future version of you, she felt very much like Guan Yin,
Yeah.
like in terms of like how she was flowing in and on this cloud and, that kind of thing. I mean, that's what she kind of felt like to me, like just floating in and like with all the robes and the hair and all that. Love that. That's beautiful. Oh, okay. Well, whew, we covered a lot today. Thank you so much for being here. There will be a 72-hour limited replay after this, and I'll be sending that to you in like the next hour or two. So you'll have that for the next 72 hours, the access to the replay so you can, see whatever you missed, or maybe you can replay anything. I mean, I invite you to check out the activation more than once because usually when you do, there's something new that gets revealed to you. So I invite you to do that. And if you are feeling called to take your embodiment to the next level, I would love to do this work with you and do so in the 3-month mentorship accelerator. So there is the link that I mentioned before, but I'll just put it here just in case it is so it's more convenient. So I invite you, if you're feeling resonant with this and you're ready to do it, I invite you to apply for the 3-month accelerator, and you will be prompted to put in your deposit and we'll take it from there. And then from there, we'll be helping you and supporting you to you embodying all of this activation work, everything that you're opening into in 2026, and really supporting you so that you really anchor that in a really powerful embodied way. So thank you for spending 111 with me today and on a Sunday, no less. I mean, you could all be like sleeping in and taking naps, and maybe you'll do that afterwards, who knows? But thank you for spending this time with me, and thank you for trusting yourself to step in, especially live, or if you're watching this on replay, through replay. And it was such a joy to do this with you. So thank you so much. And I'm just opening up and also closing this field with so much love so that as you move through the rest of your day here on the 11th of January, you are just opening into what's next for you in a really powerful, deep way because you're worthy of it and you're deserving of it, and your time is now. So thank you so much. Sending you so much love. You're welcome, Anna. You're welcome, Chiyun. You're welcome, Ronald. And I hope to see you in either a container or in another masterclass very soon or something else. Who knows what the future holds for us. So sending you so much love and enjoy the replay and enjoy the rest of your 111 day today. So much love. Take care.